Welcome to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. It's your host, Dr. Morgan. Today's episode, we have a lot of things to talk about. I want to talk to you about preparing for a securely attached marriage because I myself have been in this season and really thinking about what does it take to feel very securely attached in a relationship and go into a marriage with less anxiety, less fear. I'm not saying that even when you're securely attached, it's totally normal that you would have moments of doubts or questions coming up. But I just want to talk about what does it look like to really prepare as well as you can to make that kind of commitment and have it be as anxiety and stress free as possible. So we're going to talk about that. I'll share from my own vulnerable experience. And then I was looking at my social media and there's a comment that got made. And usually I don't talk about this kind of thing. And I just like let things roll off my back. I don't let anything bother me. Honestly, I have such an incredible community. I don't really get problematic or mean comments hardly ever. And I don't even know what this one was, but I'm just going to share this with you and kind of my thoughts and some of the behind the scenes things because I actually think this is a really important conversation for so many reasons. So I did this post about my story. I was talking about growing up. I lost my mom at 6 years old. It's a very vulnerable post. I'm like showing pictures of myself as a child. It's a vulnerable share. And I talk about my journey of hitting rock bottom after dating a narcissist and coming to this place of deciding to become securely attached and do the healing work and how I was then able to heal myself, come to a securely attached place. And as an amazing side effect, I attracted my incredible partner. And we've been able to very intentionally build a healthy, securely attached relationship. And we're getting married this summer. So that's what the post was. It's my story. It's still there. You can go to Instagram and see it. And then someone commented this. They said, I hope that you stay married. You have a lot riding on it. And it was really interesting. I had this moment of kind of like, ugh, this is why I actually have been very private about my relationship. And it's only recently that I've even talked about it more. And I haven't opened up about even my fiance or being engaged. If you look back, I don't talk about it a lot, but I've started to more. So when I saw that comment, it made me go, well, this is why I don't talk about being engaged because of things like this. And I don't know if this is how this person meant it, but if they meant that statement as saying, like, oh, well, in order to be successful, in order to have a healthy business, in order for people to want to work with you, then you have to have this healthy, amazing marriage. And I started thinking about it. And I just have come to this point where it's like, no matter the outcome of my marriage, no matter the outcome of my relationship, I mean, I think we are rock solid. We're very securely attached. We love each other. We work on things. Any conflict that comes up, we work through it. We've both very intentionally committed to each other. I really, truly do believe in my heart that we'll be together forever. But regardless of that, that's not even what becoming securely attached is about. Like, believe me that yes, attracting the person, having the marriage, building the life you want with someone, of course, that's amazing. It's an incredible side effect of the main thing. What is the main thing? The main thing is you healing, releasing the weight of your past, becoming the securely attached person at your core, letting that be your new identity, becoming that person. The freedom, the joy, the contentment that comes from stepping into a securely attached identity, having a regulated nervous system, waking up in the morning feeling excited about the day and feeling happy, being able to look in the mirror and know that you have real, true love for yourself and that you're welcoming love in from all the people in your life, right? That you feel safe enough that you can let people in and you can let people get close to you. These are the real victories. I don't know what this comment was intended to imply, but if it was saying that, oh, you have a lot riding on it, as though if it doesn't work out, things are going to crumble for me. That's not the truth. Like this relationship, once again, a relationship doesn't define my worthiness. It doesn't define me being good enough. It certainly doesn't define my success. I was very successful in building my business before I was in a relationship because I know how to help people transform. So even if I was single and I was openly sharing about being single, I still believe in the effectiveness of what I can teach people. Obviously, I think it does help when you can see evidence of someone practicing what they preach. Because let me tell you all, for like the first year of really launching this work that I do now and even launching, it was before the podcast. So prior to the podcast, like there was a time period when I resisted doing the work myself so much. Like I had done part of it. I was dipping my toe in, but there was a lot of resistance on my end of actually doing the things that I was helping other people do. And I started to see my clients have incredible results and getting these amazing relationships and they're getting married. And I just went, holy shit, I need to really, really do this work. Like I'm really helping people do this and it's really working. And I need to do it at a deep level. So as I was building things, I was going through the same process that I help all of you go through. Like I have been there. I've been the person who's repeated the patterns over and over. I've been the person who's really struggled with body image or beliefs about myself that were really unhealthy. I've been in those places where I could attract people, but I couldn't maintain relationships and I really couldn't be vulnerable and I couldn't let people in. Like I have been through everything, right? And getting to this place that I'm at now, yes, I have an incredible relationship. Yes, I adore my fiance. He's amazing. He's amazing. And I am successful on my own and when it comes to healing because I don't have those beliefs about myself anymore. I have a calm, regulated nervous system. I can let love in. Love feels safe to me. I can set boundaries. I can have clear, open, honest, direct, assertive communication. God forbid, God forbid that anything would ever happen to my marriage, which I see as a very sacred, beautiful thing that I've intentionally created. God forbid anything would ever happen. I know that I would still be able to be securely attached and I would be okay because of the work that I've done. So I never want to give this image of like, oh, I'm telling you that once you get the relationship, that then everything in your life is great, because that's not the truth. You guys, we know this. Being in a relationship, we can all be in a relationship, but who are we? Are we securely attached? Are we showing up in a healthy, loving way? Can we attract and maintain a relationship with the right person? With the right person, right? I want people to realize that the goal is not getting married. The goal is becoming the version of yourself who has healed, the version of yourself who has capacity to receive so much goodness and that isn't going to sabotage and that isn't going to be attracted to emotionally unavailable dynamics. That version of yourself who can let the good come into her life and receive it and have the tools to navigate whatever comes up, right? So that was my little rant for you to open this episode. I didn't expect to go this long on this, but I think this was an important topic. Um, and I'm not judging the person that made that comment. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what it was intended to be. So, sending you love. But it really did bring up a lot of introspection for me. And honestly, it made me go, you know what? I can talk about my marriage. I can talk about my fiance, and yes, that's part of it. And I will continue to also talk about what it means to be securely attached in our lives, how our careers get better, our friendships get better, our family relationships get better, our day to day well being, overall mood, and our identities, everything gets better, which then also helps you attract that relationship that's amazing, right? It's all connected, babe. All connected. Okay. I wanted to talk to you today about the securely attached marriage and how do we know when we are building a securely attached marriage? What are the things that we have to look for? And how can you step into a wedding season or even getting engaged? Essentially, how can you progress in your relationship with building so much trust that it's not feeling scary, it's not feeling stressful? Because let me tell you, I know so many people out there and just other brides I've talked to where, wow, this can be a very stressful season. It can bring up so much. I'm really fortunate that I've done so much work on my relationship, so much. We have shown up for each other. We've shown up for ourselves as individuals. We both really believe in doing the work. And I'm with someone who takes total ownership and accountability. And I myself do that for myself. So, our getting engaged and getting married, it's been really pretty easy. It's been really drama free. It's been anxiety free. I'm enjoying it. And I almost feel like it's sort of taboo to say, well, actually, I'm really enjoying being engaged, really enjoying the wedding planning. I have a partner doing it with me. I'm not doing it by myself. Are you guys kidding me? I'm not going to plan a wedding by myself. I have my partner helping me in every aspect. We are a team. We are a true partnership and it's enjoyable. Obviously, I know there's going to be things that come up as we get closer, but I don't have the kind of fear and stress that I've felt before when deepening a relationship. I don't know how many of you know this, but I've actually been proposed to three times before my current relationship. And I can tell you this, in those past experiences, there was so much drama and stress and being triggered and old stories coming up. And, there's a reason why I didn't go through with any of those marriages. They were not the right ones. But more importantly than that, those people not being right, I wasn't emotionally available. I wasn't healed enough to be able to show up intentionally in a relationship and make a commitment. I wasn't healed enough. So I guess I have those experiences as an example of what it can be like. So then I want to talk to you about how do we get into the smooth sailing category? What are some of the things that you need to have discussed as a couple or experienced as a couple so that the deepening of your relationship is drama free? So I have a list for you. We're going to talk about the characteristics of the securely attached marriage. What does it look like? I'll give you some signs, ways that you can know that you are building that secure marriage or headed that way. And then I will also talk to you about what are the things that you can do that will help you show up this way for a partner. So the tangible, tactical things that you can do to make sure that you are showing up the best that you possibly can. Okay. So let's start once again with the characteristics, the signs that you're building this securely attached connection. And I'll be honest, some people don't like the word marriage. Some people don't see themselves ever getting married, but they see themselves having a lifetime partnership. So please adapt this to fit where you are and to fit the vision that you have for your long term relationship. Okay. Uh, but I'm going to use the term marriage. So, key characteristics number one, this should be a given, but emotional safety. We have to feel emotionally safe. There has to be open, honest, direct communication. Emotional safety is so huge because if you don't have emotional safety, then there's going to be parts of yourself that are hiding. There's going to be ways that maybe you're not getting your needs met in the relationship, right? Not having emotional safety can set you up for all kinds of pitfalls down the road. And this is where I see a lot of people, they grow apart over time because at some point there was a rupture and they just stopped coming to their partner. So, one of the most important things, this is so foundational, emotional safety. Can you be open, honest, and direct with each other, even about the tough conversations? Number two, I love this one. You guys know I talk about this all the time. This is really important. Interdependence. We want to be close to our partners, but they are not our whole world. We are not going to build a codependent relationship because if it's codependent, there's lots of things. It's not going to be able to be securely attached and you're going to lose attraction to your partner. Codependency over time becomes very unattractive. Okay. We need to have space. We need to have our individual selves as well as the relationship. You hear me talk about this all the time. Interdependence. You can depend on yourself. You have an amazing relationship with yourself, still maintaining who you are, and you have a great relationship with your partner. For me, one thing I do is my partner and I have solo Saturdays. We go do our own thing. And we also have times throughout the week. Like tonight, I'll be going to um, a workout class and I'm going to go get some pho with a friend. Like I do things by myself. Okay. This is so necessary for maintaining individuality while coming together as a couple. And I know I'm kind of going on a rant, but this is important. A lot of people, beginning stage of the relationship, anywhere from zero to the very beginning to a year in, a lot of people slide into some form of codependency, and it can be really normal that you kind of have that, we call it confluence, where you're merging with the other person, you're spending all your time together, you have all this dopamine and oxytocin and it's like a drug and you just want to spend all this time together. And healthy couples go through the phase of individuation, where after that period of intense bonding, they're realizing, oh, we still need to have our own separate identities. Some couples go through this at the 3-month stage. Some couples go through it 6 months in. Some people go through it a year in. But this can be one of the reasons why people break up is if they don't handle this stage correctly and kind of realizing, oh, of course we need our own lives. Of course we can be individuals and we can still be connected to each other. We can have our own lives and still be very intentionally spending time together and building a healthy relationship. So that individuation stage is necessary for you to have gone through and to navigate that well in order to be headed into a securely attached marriage. Okay, this next point number 3. This is huge. You have to be able to navigate conflict in a healthy way. Securely attached conflict navigation, using I statements, being able to validate one another, make sure that each of you are feeling heard in conflict. Okay. So healthy conflict, knowing how to repair after conflict has happened. This is so key. Conflict is a part of any healthy marriage. If we don't have conflict, that means that we're not close. When we're close with people, when we're vulnerable, when we're spending a lot of time together with someone, conflict is a normal and healthy part of a marriage. And we have to start framing it as an opportunity to grow and an opportunity to get to know our partners better. And for both of us to say, we want to work on how do we do this in a healthy way because we want our marriage to be stronger. So healthy conflict, absolute must. And then this next one is so important to point number 4 here. This is so key. Consistency, reliability, and trust. Consistency, reliability, and trust. Do you do what you say you are going to do? Can I trust you to follow through on the promises that you make me and that you make our relationship. Any couple has gone through this where maybe there's something that's really off in the relationship. Let's say maybe you've been dating someone, you're a year and a half in, and you're realizing that the person you're dating is really struggling with their mental health. Let's say that they're very depressed. They're struggling to get out of bed. They're getting really poor reviews at work. They are just very down. They're not able to have other friends, and they're really, really leaning on you, right? In this example, you're feeling like you are their therapist. You're starting to feel really, really drained and burnt out by the relationship. So, what would have to happen? You would have to be able to come to that person and say, wow, this is the way that I'm experiencing you. I really care about you. I want you to be happy and healthy. And I know, because I care about our relationship, I know that in order for us to thrive, that you really truly need support. You really truly need to deal with your mental health condition. You need to work on yourself, right? And then setting that clear boundary. If I'm going to trust my partner and I'm going to know that, wow, I can be heard and that my needs are important, and that when I bring something to my partner that they hear me, then I'm going to need to see the behaviors of that person going to go to a therapist, of going to their doctor, of opening up to other friends and family members and getting the support that they need, right? So that I'm no longer the only one caring for this person. I'm going to need to then build the trust that when I bring something to them, they're going to hear me and they're going to do something about it, the follow through, right? So I think about this in long-term relationships. This is key. We want to be able to know that our concerns can be heard, that our partner wants to obviously grow and they want to grow with us, and that they're going to show up and do what they need to do in order to grow with us. So, once again, that last point was consistency, reliability, and trust. I wrote this down again. So, this is so important, apparently. Back to interdependence for point number 5. I said that there needs to be this really healthy balance of intimacy and autonomy. Once again, it comes back to, I have to be able to see my partner as a separate being from me, to see them as an individual, and I have to be able to support them and them becoming the best version of themselves, whatever that looks like, right? And we want to have these deep moments of intimacy and shared time together that are very intentional, where we're both very, very present. And then we also want our freedom and our autonomy. The relationships that really last, that I see, at least in my circles, and I would say even in, the celebrities and people that I've seen in our media world, people say, wow, I am able to be my full self when I'm with this person. And part of that is giving the person the time and the space to go and do the things that make them their full selves, right? And that, here's the other thing, that people grow and change, and that with our autonomy and mutual respect, we are giving each other permission to change and grow. There's ways my partner is totally different today compared to who he was 4 years ago. And I honor that and I respect it. And I appreciate him growing and changing. He would say the same thing about me, right? There's ways that we have both grown and changed, and we don't try to box each other in. We actually support that. We know that it's part of a healthy marriage. So, here are these things real quick. We're going to review it because I want you to really get these. The key characteristics of the securely attached marriage: emotional safety. We talked about that one. Open, honest, direct communication, absolute foundation. Interdependence, making sure that you have closeness and your own individual identities. Healthy conflict resolution based on mutual respect. And it's securely attached conflict resolution where you also have quick repair. The other thing is consistency, reliability, and trust. Can you trust your partner to hear you and really take action on things that are concerning you? and the healthy balance of intimacy and autonomy. So, carving out that special time that is truly together where you are both present. My partner and I do this really intentionally of, okay, putting the phones down, spending time together, intentional date nights, intentional check ins. That was the last episode, right? Like having intentional time to check in so that the time that you are together is intimate. How many of you have been in a relationship where you could be with someone for years, but you didn't have intimate time? You didn't have time where you're both present. Or if you did, it was really rare, right? So that intimacy, prioritizing it, and having the balance of the intimacy as well as individual autonomous time. Okay, so what can you do? How do you move yourself to this place to where, yes, you are showing up securely attached? What can you actually do? Well, you guys know this. Of course, I would start with this one. We have to help you become securely attached yourself. Hello. That is a big part of it. Can you show up as your securely attached version of yourself, healing your attachment wounds, moving yourself from any insecure attachment patterns and identity into the securely attached version of yourself? So, this looks like, are you still repeating past relationship dynamics? Are you carrying unfinished business from your childhood or from past relationships that then is being brought into your current relationship, right? Really working on, how do I embody secure attachment? Not just know what it looks like in my head. That's one thing. We can consciously know how we're supposed to show up, but can you actually embody a secure attachment style? So that's a huge one. And if you want help with that, come join us inside of the Empowered, Secure, Loved program. That's what we specialize in. We've helped over 700 women do this and rewire their brains. There's really no better time. Like, now is the time. If you've been on the fence, maybe you've been listening to the podcast for a while, this is the time. You need the support. You are deserving of having support. No more just reading the books or listening to the podcast, whatever. You need support. You need guidance. You need a proven roadmap to get you to your securely attached self. So if that resonates, go apply to the program. We do have a limited number of spots. You can use the link in the show notes. Okay. Moving on. What else do you have to do to prepare for a securely attached marriage? Get really, really clear on your relationship values and your vision. So, what kind of marriage do you want to have? This one always throws people off. They're like, well, they just think about what marriage is supposed to be. What has society said it's supposed to be? Where's your parents' marriage like? I want to encourage you. You get to decide, what kind of marriage do you want to have? And when you're in a relationship, you should be talking about that with your partner. Like, what does it look like? Okay. What do you do together? How do you support one another? Are you having kids? Are you not? Are you traveling the world together? There's also lifestyle conversations, compatibility, right? You want to paint the picture. What does a securely attached, healthy, thriving relationship look like for both of us? And you want to have a deep understanding, right? And who are you as individuals as well? So, this is what the marriage looks like, and this is what it looks like for you individually. You want to have those conversations. Now, the next step, this is so key. Always be working on your communication and your conflict resolution. This is not okay, I'm securely attached, so I'm done working on my communication. This is a lifelong commitment. So make the commitment, do it right here, right now, as you're listening to this show. Make the commitment. You are learning how to communicate more effectively. You are learning how to show up more securely attached and communicate in healthier ways. And for both of you, both of the people in the relationship, to make this commitment together and to give each other permission to call each other out in a loving way, right? But to let each other know when the communication is not working. And once again, if you do that check-in that I told you on the last episode, that's a perfect opportunity to be practicing improving your communication, right? And not only in how you do the check-in, but also the feedback that you decide to give. Okay. And then finally, this is so, so big. But these are practical conversations. I know I talked about this a little bit for clarifying your vision, but there are key things you need to talk about. So let's just go over these things. Finances. You have to talk to your partner about finances. We all have a relationship with money, and we all have to decide, how are we going to manage our finances together? That's something my partner and I work on. We have it as part of our check-in. We're always talking about it. It's just part of life, right? And it can definitely hurt your relationship if you're not open and honest about finances and how you're going to manage them. Okay, the next thing is your families and boundaries. How important is family to you? Do you want to be very close to your families? Do you want them to be involved? Does one of you have more boundaries with family and the other one is like, hey, involve them in everything? But you need to talk about, what role will family relationships play in our marriage? For example, are we spending every Christmas with your family? Are we FaceTiming your family once a week? Do we feel comfortable with having people come over uninvited? Or do we need people to always let us know if they're going to be dropping by? All of these little conversations about, well, hey, what does our relationship look like when it comes to family? And you may be different, and it's about understanding where each other are at and honoring it. And then children, I mentioned this. Do you want kids? Are you on the same page? Obviously, parenting styles. How do you think you should show up as parents? What's important to you? The next one is sex and intimacy, talking about, what do we want our sex lives to look like? I also talked about this in Monday's episode. What do we want our sex lives to look like? What is a healthy, fulfilling sex life? And then how we are going to handle conflict. Once again, so important. Is there something that we need to do as kind of a standardized structure for conflict, but just getting really, really clear? How will we handle disagreements? What is important to both of us if a disagreement comes up? So, for example, it could be one of you can get really, really emotionally dysregulated, very overwhelmed, and can get in the habit of freezing and being unable to speak. How are you going to handle that when that comes up? What is needed? So you would just talk about, how do we handle conflict and come up with a mutual agreed upon plan. And then the last one here, I forget what number this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 things you need to talk about. The final thing is, what are your goals? Are you on the same page when it comes to personal growth and goals? Do you know what each other's goals are? And do you know how each other fit into what those goals are? So openly, honestly sharing about your goals, that should be a really fun part of marriage, is making that commitment of, we will get clear on the vision that we have for our marriage, and also the vision that we have as individuals, and how we can support each other on our individual trajectories, right? So those are some really, really, really important conversations. This has been quite the episode. I wonder what you all think about this. If you have feelings, if you have takeaways, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can send me a DM on Instagram at Dr. Morgan Coaching, or screenshot a picture of this episode, share it to your story and tag me, and I will reshare it and I'll reach out to you. I definitely want to hear from you all. Let me know if this was helpful. And I just want to leave you with this. You get to have the kind of marriage that you want. You get to decide that you get to have a securely attached, healthy, loving, thriving, passionate relationship. You do not have to go off of the models that you have seen. You don't have to have your parents' marriage. You don't have to have your friends' marriage. You certainly don't have to have the types of marriages we see in the media, right? You get to decide, what does a healthy marriage look like to you? Okay. What does a healthy marriage look like to you? All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am so excited to see those of you who have signed up for the 3-day challenge. That is coming so soon. We are coming up on the deadline to register. So if you haven't signed up, use the link in the show notes. It's the 3-day Move to Secure Attachment Challenge. You'll be with me live. I'm doing live coaching, helping you rewire your brain so that you can become securely attached. Seriously, this is a transformational experience. So it's not just a training, it's not just informational. This is an experience that you so deserve to have. You so deserve to make time for it and be there. So use the link in the show notes. I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be magical. It's going to be powerful. And I just love getting to spend time with you all. So I only do it once a year. Don't miss it. Link is in the show notes. I'm sending you so much love. So proud of you wherever you're at on your healing journey. You're showing up. That's the important part. Keep showing up, okay? I'm wishing you high self-worth and great relationships. I'll talk to you soon.